Shwmae and croeso to the home of the current champions of the Cymru Premier, TNS. This is the launch show of the JD Cymru Premier. We've got a special show lined up for you with some fantastic guests as well. We're joined by the manager of the current champions, Mr. Craig Harrison. We've got Mike Davis, the man behind the mic, and we've got one of the longest serving players, if not the longest serving, I believe, Mr. Chris Venables of Bala Town. And we've got a packed show coming up tonight. It's an interactive show, so you can get involved on all the FAW's social media channels. But because it marks 30 years since the beginning of the league, it changed football in Wales forever. So here's a video of what it was like at the start of that journey.
He never touched it, ref!
Some absolutely fantastic memories there. Michael, I'll come to you first. What are your memories from the start of the league, and how much have you seen it grow over the decades?
Well, obviously, I played in the first Saturday of the Welsh Premier. It was the 15th of August, 92. We had a home game. I was playing for Aberystwyth Town at the time. It was a local derby against Carsws, fantastic opening game. Complete contrast to the heat of this weekend, because it was a wet, drizzly afternoon at Park Avenue. Fortunate enough to score 2 goals, get the 3 points. It was a brilliant season for Aberystwyth, the best they've actually done. We finished 3rd in the league. It was a bit of a 3-horse race between ourselves, into Cardiff and Cymru. Cymru finished on top, the late Tony Wilcox taking them to Europe, where they played Cork City, into Cardiff, who were under the leadership of Lynn Jones, the former Merthyr manager. But it was a 20 league at the beginning, 38 games marathon season. But it was fantastic memories that I have of that season. It was an historic season. The vision of the Welsh FA, the secretary at the time, Alan Evans, launching that in a bid to secure Welsh football's independence in a way, because there was still talk about establishing a GB team, etc. So it has come an awful long way. If we look at the stadia that we're in, the pitches, the coaching, the standard of the football that we see from week to week has certainly improved immensely. and I'm quite proud to be part of it and be proud to be able to commentate on players such as Chris and on Craig's teams.
Absolutely, Mike. And just Craig, I'll come to you now. Obviously, TNS weren't there at the beginning, but obviously they've become a force to be reckoned with under yourself and other managers as well. Obviously, how far have TNS come as a club as well to be dominating over the last decade or so, really?
Yeah, it was tough. I think early on I was at Airbus and there was teams like Real won the league, Llanelli won the league, you know, and there's teams Neath come in and out and challenged and etc. Bangor won the league in that short period of time, you know, but I was very fortunate to be the manager to be in a position to dominate for 6 years, and since then, take away one or two seasons, TNS have dominated since. So it's been a very fruitful 10, 15 years for TNS.
Absolutely. And just in terms of your career in the Welsh Premier, Chris, you've played for a long time. I think it's around 15 years, I believe, is it?
20th season starting this year.
I've sold you short there, Chris. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, going back to what Mike was saying before, and Craig as well, you must have seen massive changes in that time.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, as Mike alludes to, you know, pitches are one of the main things now. And also styles of play. It's changed massively over the years from my first game back in 2003, which was an away to Cymru for Cymru. And it changed vastly there from, like I said, pitches to stadia and now to, you know, the way in which teams are playing. So, you know, huge developments and moving forward really with it. So.
And just the opening weekend now, guys, any fixtures that stand out for yourself? Obviously, being involved in yourself and Mike, you as well. Any fixtures that stand out for yourself this weekend?
Well, the cluster of really important fixtures. Obviously, looking at the Newtown TNS game, Penabont Bala. I think Penabont Bala game will be a really tough fixture for Chris's team, to be honest, because it's never easy going down to the STM Glass Stadium at any time of year, but at this particular opening weekend, it'll be a significant fixture. But I think it's a significant weekend as well for the teams that have gained promotion. They've both got home games. Aberystwyth have to travel to Airbus, and I think those two teams may well struggle come the end of the season. And obviously, Pontypridd, they've recruited effectively, in my opinion, during the close season, and they'll be the live game against Flint on Saturday evening. So a lot to look forward to.
And just coming to you, Craig, as well. A lot of people, the bookies especially, tipping you for the title again this year. Is that where would you rather be the favourites, or how do you deal with that favourites tag?
I think you get used to it. You know, it's the expectations you manage, you coach, you play for TNS, and that just comes with the territory. You know, it come from day one from myself. I think it was back in 2011 when I come here originally, and they'd lost the league to Bangor City the year before, and the remit was to get the title back, you know, and then win the title every year. You know, it's pretty simple. There's a little bit of pressure, of course, but it is pretty simple remit to win the league, you know, and if the Welsh Cup comes along and the Nathaniel Cup comes along as well, then it's even better. But it's pretty simple. Win the league, you know, and that's you've done a certain amount of your job, and then prepare for European football. So it is what it is. I think it just comes along with the territory. I think you've got to get used to that, or it's not the club for you.
Absolutely. And Chris, just finally, Bala, a team that have been up there for a number of seasons now, certainly in your time at the club, and you know, you'll be hoping to push these guys close again, won't you? Yeah,
absolutely. We're under no illusions as to how big a task that is. And as you said, we've competed well in recent years. Certainly at my time in the club, European football is huge for us. It's what we're trying to achieve year in, year out. But ultimately, we want to make improvements as we go along to try and push TNS and win the league ourselves. We're not sort of in it just to take part, as I say. We're in it to try and win. So we'll be looking and aiming to try and push them as far as we can.
And not wanting to embarrass Chris too much, but have either of you got favourite Chris Venables moments in his years in the top flight? Come to you first, Mike.
Well, the thing is, he'll be crossing 500 appearances during this season, probably breaking Colin Reynolds' record of 516 appearances. What I like about Chris is his ability in the air sometimes is underestimated, and the way that he drifts and comes into the box late and his heading ability is excellent. So I'm sure he's maturing like a fine wine, and I would say that he'd be looking again at 15, 20 goals this season, I would think. But certainly in terms of standout moments, it's always looking at his movement off the ball and then his late movement into the box. And if you ever see a Chris Venables header, he gets the opportunity. It's going to be in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think he enjoyed the fine wine comment there as well.
Thank you, Mike.
But Craig, I know he's a rival player from another top side in the division, but been a great player over the years.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest compliment I can play to Chris is the consistency.
Yeah.
Year in, year out for a long, long time. It is quite. You see players come in, come out, do well, don't do so well, but Chris for years and years has been one of the best players in the league, and there's no doubt about it that if you certainly pick the top 5 players that have played in this league, if not the top, you'd be very, very, very close to that. But I think the best compliment I can make him is it's year in, year out, and you've got to be a very special player to do that.
And it's time to perhaps embarrass you, I don't know, but you've come back to TNS, a very successful stomping ground for yourself. Not to put you on the spot, but what's drawn you back here? Is it to win more silverware? I'll let you answer that yourself.
Yeah, of course it is. I think there's no hiding place. I enjoyed my 6 years here previously, winning lots of trophies, and I'm still hungry to win more. I really enjoyed my time at Connah's Quay. Connah's Quay were good to me. We had a successful period there as well, which I'd like to think I played a small part in, supporting Andy and Gary Dewhurst. But the be all and end all was I was more than happy to come back here and full-time football and come back to working with good people. I'm very, very fortunate. I work with good people at Connah's Quay, and I work with good people at TNS the first time, and then good people are still there. So I think it's just as important on the pitch, off the pitch, and there's some fantastic people at TNS, and then coming back to try and win as many trophies and win as many football games as we can, and that's the be all and end all. Like I referred to earlier, there's a bit of pressure, but it's enjoyable pressure because a lot of the time you're working with the best players in the league and in a fantastic facility in a full-time outfit. So there's certainly not going to be any complaints about me.
Mike, few sides to choose from, but are there any Craig Harrison sides that stick out for you over the years?
Well, I mean, the fact that they went on such a run that beat the great Ajax run, I think that is a true compliment to the work that Craig Harrison and his coaching staff did with that particular team. They're obviously going this year for a 15th title here. They set the bar, and wherever that bar is always high, everybody will want to beat TNS. But at the same time, the quality of play and the quality of players that they have, season in, season out, always provides entertainment and quality as well. I've been fortunate enough to watch some of the academy players playing a little bit earlier on, and some fantastic players coming through the system here as well. But TNS will be the team to beat again this year. I think Connah's Quay Nomads will be close as well. Bala also, Newtown. The teams that have represented Wales in Europe, they will probably form the majority of the top 6. I'll be surprised if they don't. Yeah. But I think you will have teams such as Penybont, perhaps Haverfordwest, pushing for a top 6 place. But certainly TNS will be the team to beat once again. And I think many observers will be surprised if Craig Harrison doesn't lift this trophy again come the next year.
Obviously, you'll be doing all you can at Bala to make sure that doesn't happen. But yeah, just same question really, Chris. Any teams, Craig Harrison teams from the past that really stick in your mind?
Well, we were discussing earlier actually Craig's last game, but obviously he's going for the treble. So again, as Mike said, with the Ajax record, any team that's going to go for a treble is some team, obviously. So the team of that era as such would probably be the one that sticks in my mind. Pleasing that we were the ones to to stop it. To be fair, on the day in the Welsh Cup final, but
I wonder why you went for that one.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not bitter still.
But yeah, just to move on slightly now, one of the most interesting things we've seen over the past few years is a number of young players from the exiled clubs, the Welsh clubs playing in England, who have not used the league. They've sent some of their players on loan to some of the Welsh clubs. It's absolutely great to see. Most famously, current Wales defender Ben Cabango. He spent some time on loan here at TNS, and we caught up with him earlier in the week.
Alan Tate, who was here at the time, just rang me up, and I've just finished the season, under 18 season, said, what do you think about going to TNS on loan? I was a bit surprised at the time, because obviously their season starts earlier as well with the Champions League qualifiers and stuff, so it wasn't really much of a break. And then he told me, do you want to go? I was like, yeah, sure, just sort of throw myself in the deep end straight away, because I was obviously only 18 at the time, and to move to TNS, which is first time really moving away from my parents, it was obviously going to be a tough ask, but yeah, I thought, why not? And I think I gained a lot out of it. So yeah, it's a really good experience. Moving away from my parents, and obviously it's going to help you as a person as well. Learning just the little stuff, just like cooking, cleaning, just taking care of yourself, and turning into a man really. And then obviously the football side of it as well, just playing against the physicality and just trying to show my qualities in that league. I remember my first league game, which was Connors Quay. I didn't really know what to expect at the time. I didn't even know they were like sort of the rivals at the time as well. Yeah, and that was a very tough game to start with, the long balls coming in, and yeah, it was a big shock. I didn't realise how intense and physical the league was, and obviously playing that game really helped me develop, I think. For young players now, it is just important to get out on loan, and somewhere like TNS in the Welsh League is a really big step up as a youngster to try playing that league and challenge yourself. And like I said, it really did help me. Coming away from it and looking back at it now, it really did help me. And physicality, even playing with the ball, obviously TNS really do pass it, and it really did help me. Especially with the coaches as well, they were really good with me. And I went into that as a boy, and then I come out as a man, obviously living by myself, with two other boys, but obviously away from my parents, so that brought me along a lot. And then obviously playing as well and then tough games really helped. It's surreal, to be honest. It's obviously a once in a lifetime opportunity to play in the World Cup, so I'm just focusing right now on getting back in the team and competing for a place. I know we've got a good few defenders in the team, so I've got to be performing well to get competing and just to get in the squad, but I know I can do it, and I'm just going to be pushing myself.
Well, I'm delighted to say we've been joined by Gwyn from the FAW here. But before we come to you, Gwyn, you're going to be doing the draw shortly as well. We're all looking forward to that. But Mike, I just wanted to come to you again. I just wanted to ask you about how great is it to see these young players coming from these clubs and coming on loan and getting experience. But also, it's an excellent grounding for these players as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the big changes over the 30-year period, that you see professional teams trusting the League of Wales and seeing it giving young players opportunities. Because I was fortunate to play in Mark Delaney's first game in the League of Wales for Carmarthen, where we played at Britain Ferry, and it was through his appearances with Carmarthen that Cardiff City picked him up, or went to De Jones, going from Bangor to Swansea, etc. And now, of course, you've got the experience of the Euro 2016 heroes coming back to help and support the National League as well. I think that's really important. But when you see people like Will Evans going on a contract in Newport County, James Waite, Farquharson from Connors Quay, I know they've all gone to Newport County, but who's the next one on the conveyor belt? I'll throw one in. I'll say Miles Davis of Penabont, who's probably been unfortunate perhaps not to have been picked up by a professional side to date. But without putting too much pressure on the boy, I think he is one that we need to keep an eye on.
I think it's a really important point, Craig, as well, isn't it? I mean, it works both ways. You've got fantastic players come to the division, maybe a bit later on in their careers as well. So it's not just the youngsters. This is a league that players want to play in now.
Yeah, I think it is. You know, you look at it, and there is some very good players still. You know, fortunate to have one at Connors Key with Neil Eardley, you know, Welsh international, and you know, you look at Jazz Richards who's come in, and you know, Dave Edwards at Bala, you know, all being top players, play at the very highest level, and I think it's testimony to the league that we are getting players out, we're getting players on loan from big clubs, and we are attracting players who not right at the end of their career. It's changed a little bit probably, where maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago they were probably done. It was probably their last season. But you look at what they add to it, and you look at the fitness levels, and you know, you're talking about 30, 31. You know, that's, you know, players are playing. Look at Chris; he's still a top player now. There's top players playing at 35 to 40 in Joe Turan. So you look at it, and there's still loads of scope for that. So I think that's been a real strength of the league, that they're getting everything right regarding loan players and being trusted, and the players that have went out there, and then also the players that are coming in, you know, not right at the end of the career. I think that's the key. It's not their last season. They're given 3, 4, 5 years to the league, which can only improve.
Yeah, and Chris, you know, you're a player who's you've spent all your career in this division, and you know, perhaps had opportunities to go elsewhere. But you've had a fantastic career here, and you've had the opportunity to play with these guys that Craig's talking about there. It must have been fantastic for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, Craig's mentioned there, Dave Edwards. Obviously, we've got a Bala, which is fantastic for the club. You know, to draw on his experience, you know, from Euro 2016 and things like that, and you know, it improves the club just with him being there. To be perfectly honest, and you know, insights he can give to the game and his past experiences, and obviously raising the profile of the club itself as well. I think it's great to have, like Craig says, you know, players coming in and they're giving, you know, good years still to the league, as well as having those younger players as well who obviously improve it. So you know, it's fantastic for us.
Yeah. And great, Gwyn, Chris, thanks for joining us. Come see you finally. Thanks for waiting. But no, I mean, you must be very proud to see these players come to the league now with the input that you've had into the division, and you know, it's just great to see, isn't it?
I think the boys have hit the nail on the head. The fact that the coaching standards in the Cymru Premier have improved so much. Any manager who wants to coach in the playoffs has to have the pro license, the highest possible coaching badge you can. I think you only need an A license to coach in the Championship in England. So the coaching standard and that trust has helped develop younger players, and also help make it more attractive to these older players, shall we say, to come into the league. But the one thing we're trying to do this season, which is changing stuff, we've invested a lot more money in the academy system recently. And if we're being completely honest, we haven't had the success rate we were hoping of players coming through to the international side. We've had a number, as Mike quoted, of players having done that. So this year what we're doing is we've got 5 substitutions. You can have 3 adult substitutions, but 2 have to be youth players if you want to use the 4th and the 5th substitution. So we're trying to make the clubs look closer at their academy. Obviously, the 1 player, 1 club rule has been enforced upon us, so that has to happen. So we have to have a good playing programme, and I believe the product that we've got, maybe the superstars will have left Wales by the time they're 12, 13 to go to the professional clubs in England. But there are loads of good players who are late developers, and I think this is going to give the league an even stronger Welsh and local identity, which is something we should be proud of.
Absolutely, 100% agree there. And yeah, just thinking back, Mike, to the video at the start of the show, one thing that's been an almost constant has been the fantastic coverage of Scoria over the years. Fantastic for the league, and you know, I think it was Lee Trundle who said originally years and years back, where he said he loved watching himself on Scoria and stuff like that, which sounds exactly like Trends, doesn't it? But yeah, you must be very proud of that and how that's developed over the years as well.
Well, absolutely. I was very fortunate to have played in the league, and then once I hung up my boots, people like Gwyn gave me a phone call, and also Scoria have given me an opportunity to do something that I found that I love doing, and the coverage and on the back of the coverage, I believe, That's why another reason why professional clubs, whether they be in Wales or in England, are taking a look at the product that we're producing. What on with online platforms and whether you can have clips of this, that, and the other. And you know, the live games are always fantastic to coverage, international coverage as well. And so let's also not forget the English language commentary under Mark Jones and Tommy's leadership. And for Mark, he's one of the best ambassadors the league could have. He's the manager of the Wales C team, and look how well they did this season, absolutely trouncing England 4-0. And who's to say that it wasn't on the back of that Will Evans got his contract at Newport County? So, you know, they're all opportunities for players to show exactly what they can do, and also for the League of Wales to be promoted within Wales and outside Wales as well. And I'm proud to be part of the Scorio team.
And if I may jump in there, Tommy, the Cymru C project for us has been vital, because a lot of people thought that we were silly introducing it. And I know Chris played for the original semi-professional side, and my favourite Chris Venables moments, one of them was when he flicked onto Adam Roscoe in Salford, and we got a draw on that. But I think a lot of people look down their noses in our league. It's not a perfect league. We need to improve the attendances. But Cymru C is the one place we can say, well, the best players in our league have played against the best players in the National League. We played them 3 times, and on goal difference, we're above them. So I'm going to hold on to that one. but you know, I think it's an important yardstick. Unless we bang the drum about our own National League, and people do tend to dismiss the league, people who aren't au fait with the standard and the quality of the league, and I think that the Cymru C project under Mark's guidance is absolutely vital for our profile.
And I think another point on that, I remember chatting to you in Carnarvon on that night as well. It was a fantastic evening for Welsh football, brilliant occasion, and just chatting to some of the England coaches that night and some of the Wales coaches, and the England coaches were genuinely shocked at how good the standard was, and the Wales coaches knew exactly what they're doing. They'd done their homework for months on that. And it brings me back to the point, Craig, perhaps something that people don't see is the work you guys do behind the scenes. You're constantly working, you've got your video stuff, and it's almost like a 24/7 job in many ways for you guys now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, if you're going to be successful and commit yourself to it, then it has to be. Yeah. You know, and it was a fantastic victory that night. You know, and I've got a bit of experience on both sides, working for Hartlepool and National League, and you know, you look at it, and I think the coverage is probably equal to, you probably have to look in League One, maybe League Two, from the English pyramid. You know, the National League doesn't get anywhere near as good coverage what Scorio and S4C provide for the Welsh game. So I think it's a huge, you know, huge hats off and a benefit for a lot of different elements in the Welsh game.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Diolch yn fawr to everyone involved tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to you all. And yeah, let's have a look at the opening weekend fixtures again. Some fantastic games this weekend. And as we keep saying, get out there and support your local side. And yeah, like we said just now with Gwyn, it might surprise you. Fantastic standard, and it's well worth watching. Take it from me. Anyway, but before the third round draw, let's remind ourselves of last season's final, which I'm sure Craig will enjoy, and Scorio's coverage.
The trucks arrived on Saturday, then we started rigging all the cables, and we had a pre-rig for some of the cameras because it's a fairly early kickoff. Then today the rest of the crew arrived, the cameramen, the sound operators, production team like myself, and we put all the program together. So we're here early this morning and get everything ready for the program. It takes about 2 days between everything to set it up, to put all the cables down and get all the kit ready before the program. And then it takes a lot less time to pull it all out and take the cables away. So the trucks leave usually the day after the program. So it's about a 3-day job from beginning to end for the riggers who arrive here with the trucks and then drive the trucks back down to Bracknell in the south of England where they're kept. I love directing live games. Every game is different. You're trying to tell the story of the game to the viewer. You're leading them. You're reflecting what's happening on the pitch. You can't predict what's going to happen. Let's say no 2 games are the same. And then you just have to react to things. And that's where you see the mettle of somebody is. In that second, can they react? The crew is fantastic, from the commentators, the camera people, the replays. Everybody pulls together and you get the talent of people to tell that story in that 1 second. Is a really special feeling.
So I'm here with another legend, Dylan Ebenezer of Scorio. I just wanted to pick your brains really, Dylan. I mean, how much sort of preparation goes into the day on a cup final and stuff like that?
From my part, been doing it for years, but I always got my own little system. So I'll have a look at it the day before, just look at both teams. We get spoilt on Scorio. We get these stats packs sent to us, so there's researchers working much harder than I would do. But I've always have like a recurring nightmare that I turn up somewhere and I've forgotten something. I have this dream where somebody tells me you're presenting in 2 minutes and I haven't done anything. There's nothing worse than not preparing. When you're commentating, there's loads more work to do, every player and stuff. But yeah, a few hours, have a look at it, just you want to know what's going on. I'm very lucky that I don't get very nervous, so that's a massive help. But I started like late 90s, so I must have been shocking back in the day. But you learn, you just learn. It's like verbal diarrhea as well. You just keep talking. So
I know that feeling, Dal. I know that feeling very well. I mean, do you still sort of get that buzz? I mean, it's a cup final day today, and on top of that, what advice would you give to any aspiring reporter? Let's say someone like myself.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I do get excited for cup final to start with. It's Mark Jones on the red button with us. Always says, dress sharp for a final, Ebbsy. He's gutted I haven't got a tie on. Even I don't do ties. Just get out there, go to games, and also keep it simple. There's a lot of people trying to be too clever, I think. And again, talking about presenters, you can see that they're winging it. Sometimes they're like too pleased with themselves. There's nothing worse. So you're in a very privileged position to do what we do. So just enjoy it, and yeah, keep it simple. That's always a good one. Light, bright and tight, somebody told me, a TV producer. Yeah, don't mess about, so I'll stop talking now as well.
And there we go, just like that, we swing across the TNS clubhouse, across to the far side, where we have the Nathaniel MG Cup third round draw. Got that right, exactly. Absolutely right, yeah. And for the observant among you, you will have seen that I've come as a South Walian Tommy Couse. There needs to be wardrobe chat before we do this again, Tommy. Absolutely. Mike, thank you very much for joining us for the third round draw. Gwyn, you take us through exactly what we're going to be doing for this evening.
Yeah, for this round and the next round, it's still regionalised, so northern and southern section. Just one piece of information, that Flint Town United have been reinstated in the northern draw because Colwyn Bay, unfortunately, on Tuesday night contravened League Rule 13. So Flint are in the draw. So 8 teams in the north, 8 teams in the south.
There we go. Nice and easy, Mike. Right, over to you, Mike. Now give it a good swirl. For those of you who've watched regularly, the swirling is very important.
So this is the northern section.
Yeah, northern section first. Okay, pop it down there, Mike, and then hold it up for the camera.
What's the holders?
Horner's key straight out the
Horner's
bat.
key, I'll say it quietly, but beat the new state on penalties last weekend.
Very quietly.
Yeah.
And they will play local derby, Holywell Town.
Holywell Town. That is a good local derby.
It is.
They were big winners at Caersws, a hat-trick for Daniel Andrews in the previous round.
Yeah. He was absolutely banging them away this season.
Yeah. Right. Next out of the hat, the Covies. Carnarvon Town.
Carnarvon Town.
There you go.
Iwan Cartwright scored the only game at Holyhead Hotspur.
Yeah, very good.
Carnarvon will
Who's going to
play.
be travelling to see the collies?
Of course, to be happy with this, it's Bala Town.
Well, Bala Town.
A wry smile on Chris Venables' face. A wry smile.
Well, they scored 6 in the last game at Chirk 3As, a brace for David Edwards, so they'll go there with confidence to the Oval.
Absolutely.
Gresford Athletic.
Gresford.
Nice home draw for those guys.
Yeah, a Sam Spridgen brace put out Airbus, who are obviously in the Cymru Prem this year.
And they will play Buckley Town.
Not far to travel for that game either.
That's what I love about this stage. Good derbies.
Well, that's what we try and do, you know.
Yeah.
Try and get sort of generate more interest, and people then follow them during the league season. Then
Ruthin Town at home.
Ruthin Town. Gwion Elrowen scored the only winner, late winner at Gilsfield last time.
And if it's all worked perfectly,
it should be. Flint Town United.
Flint Town United. So Lee Fowler side have to travel to Ruthin. So just to recap, in the northern section of the Nathaniel MG Cup, it's Connors Key against Holywell Town, it's Carnarvon against Bala Town, Gresford against Buckley, and Ruthin against Flint.
Your standout for that, Mike?
Oh, I think Carnarvon versus Bala. I'm looking straight at Chris Venables here. Yeah, that's going to be a cracker.
It really is, isn't it? Great stuff. Right, swiftly on to the southern section where Mike's going to give it another good swirl.
Right, here we go then. First out of the hat. Avalido.
Avalido. Yeah, 5-2 winners at home against Cwmbran in the last round.
And they will play Pontypridd United.
Pontypridd United. That's going to be another good game as well. Debut goal for Lewis Twamley, who's on loan from Newport County in the 2-0 victory against Carmarthen in the previous round.
Yeah. Talking of youngsters getting opportunities in the league. Yeah, absolutely.
Penabont,
who were afforded a bye to the third round, so it'll be the first game of the competition this year.
It's going to be a tough game, this, for whoever comes out, that's for sure.
Right. And they will play Ammanford Town.
Ammanford Town. Liam Samuel scored the winner against Swansea University. And they've been quite lucky. They've had a run of home ties, Ammanford, so they're travelling on this occasion.
It's coming to a crashing halt.
The Trundle, perhaps.
Yeah, it might be up there.
Yeah. Taftswell.
5 different scorers for the Wellmen in the victory against Trevellyn.
Fantastic.
And Taftswell will play Haverfordwest County.
Haverfordwest. 4-2 winners against Barry. Lots expected of Tony Pennick's team, as Mike suggested in the chat.
Definitely. Yeah. They've been going well pre-season and looking like a good outfit.
Cardiff Met.
They beat Newtown 2-1 in the All Cymru Premier clash in the previous round.
And last out of the hat,
heading to the Archers,
will be my former club, Aberystwyth Town,
who came from behind to beat Llanidloes 2-1.
They were chuffed with you there, Mike.
I don't think so.
So just to recap for everybody, in the southern section, it's Avalido against Pontypridd, it's Penabont against Ammanford, Taftswell against Haverfordwest, and Cardiff Met against Aberystwyth Town. And the games are to be played midweek of the 20th of September 2022.
And that southern section, Mike, how do any of the stand out there?
Well, that final game, I think, the Cardiff Met versus Aberystwyth Town games, long trek for Aber down there, but it's always difficult to get a result down at Cardiff Met. And it'll be interesting because, of course, the Aberystwyth Town's new manager, Anthony Williams, is the former assistant manager at Cardiff Met.
Some fantastic links. Should be some great games. If you get the chance to go along, then that would be fantastic. Thank you very much for watching. It's the first we've done a Cymru League's launch show, so I hope you really enjoyed it. Check comments into the social media pages. Let us know if you did, and if you did, But listen, Gwen, thank you very much. Mike, all the team that have turned up here this evening, fantastic to have you along. Let's have a fantastic season in Welsh football. Goodbye for now.